Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. James Gunn just did a big interview about the new Batman and Brave and the Bold, some changes they've made to the movie since announcing it a couple years ago. He talked about their Damian Wayne in the DCU, their plans for the character, how their changes to the details about Damian Wayne have affected the new version of Batman, and he confirmed some details about their plans for releasing the movie with Matt Reeves, the Batman 2 coming out, and them letting Matt Reeves do a Batman 3 movie at some point as well. Because if you didn't realize, both the next Superman sequel movie, Man of Tomorrow, and Matt Reeves' Batman 2 are going to start filming at the exact same time next spring, and they're both releasing within a few months of each other in 2027. So we're going to have two different versions of Batman in the movies relatively close to each other in the next couple of years, which he also addressed during this interview, how they're planning on handling that. So we'll break it all down, because if you haven't seen, they've actually been filming the Clayface movie, and they've already been setting the stage for a lot of Batman Easter eggs. There have been many Batman characters and Batman-related things themselves showing up in the Clayface scenes. It is going to be a really good time to be a big Batman fan. We will see how James Gunn decides to handle him in the TV side of things too, because most of this talk is just about the Batman movies. It is just the beginning. It's still pretty early days just in terms of Batman in the DCU. So if you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos, because there's going to be a lot going on the next couple years. If you have not been watching the Peacemaker podcast that James Gunn has been putting out each week for the episodes, during them he fanboys a lot over the 1923 TV show. Most people viewed this as just stoking the flames of the Brandon Sklenar Batman theories. That doesn't necessarily mean that he's actually going to cast him as the new Batman. He also just really likes the 1923 TV show. But during another Peacemaker podcast, he also doubled down, saying he'd already spoken to people behind the scenes at DC about casting the female lead with Brandon Sklenar, Julia Schläfer. I might be mispronouncing her name. She's the female lead on 1923 with him as another character in an upcoming DCU movie. She actually just starred in the Politician series with David Corenswet, Superman, before they were both cast in the DCU, so already getting some DCU crossovers before actual DCU castings. Also shows you how much TV James Gunn watches outside of just the DC stuff that he actually makes himself, which is good. Like, it'd be weird if he only watched the stuff he was making himself.
I was watching 1923 last night, you know.
Is that dirty?
Yeah, it's filthy.
Really?
Well, I mean, it's a woman who's like in a, what do you call the things that you put people in when you...
I have no idea.
One of the other really good examples of this phenomenon is him casting Millie Alcock as Supergirl in the DCU after seeing her in House of the Dragon Season 1 as Rhaenyra Targaryen. During his recent Batman interview, James Gunn mentioned a lot of new details about the Brave and the Bold movie, some changes they're making. He said a lot of it is in flux behind the scenes, but it's mostly about Damian Wayne, League of Assassins backstory, in Batman's age, just relative to the backstory that they're explaining with him in the DCU. This is what he actually said. I like where we are, and then when the interviewer asked him about Damian Wayne being in the movie, he said, plenty of things are still in flux. Then the interviewer questioned him about Batman's age in the movie. If Damian Wayne is 10 years old in the comics when he's introduced, will Batman be in his mid to late 30s? And James Gunn's answer was, no, I think you have to wait and see the movie. He didn't want to reveal everything about the movie before it actually comes out. Some things have changed. Plenty of things are in flux on what the situation is with his parentage and all that stuff. Going on to say, plenty of big actors have told me they want to be Batman. Just talking about actors of different ages, like middle-aged actors in Hollywood. Obviously, every middle-aged actor in Hollywood would want to be Batman. Very, very popular role to play. When the interviewer pressed James Gunn for his remarks about Damian Wayne's parentage, is whether or not he was still in the movie, James Gunn would not give him a yes or no, is Damian Wayne in the movie. He said, I think you'll just have to wait and see exactly what's happening. Then later on social media, as James Gunn does all the time, like he answers fans' questions all the time for clarifying statements like, you said something, what does this mean? What do you mean by this? He actually said his comments about Batman's parentage were in regards to how and when Bruce becomes an actual parent, not if he becomes a parent. So I think this confirms Damian Wayne is still meant to be in the movie. And when he says things are still in flux relative to that, he's talking about the big plot details of Batman's backstory in the movie, details on exactly how old Damian Wayne is supposed to be in the movie, how old Bruce Wayne is when he fathered Damian Wayne with Talia al Ghul, what the DCU version of the League of Assassins, Ra's al Ghul's backstory are going to be. what their history with Batman is going to be when the movie picks up, if he encountered them and Talia al Ghul more than 10 years ago, assuming Damian Wayne is a preteen, like very young teenager, 10 to 13 years old, very young when the movie picks up. And how all those details will affect how old Batman is when the movie actually picks up. So it won't have a ton of effect on the actual actor that they cast as the new Batman, as long as he's within a certain 5 to 8 years time range. They can use makeup, practical effects, special effects to tune his face up, like face work, to make pretty much any actor within a certain range look however old they want to on screen.
Even with Batman, if I was doing Batman, I could get into it. Batman's a maniac, so he puts on a scary bat costume and goes out and tries to scare people.
I don't think they're going to hijack the entire movie just to be about Damian Wayne's backstory, but we'll probably get a little bit of his backstory and some echoes of that in the first movie. Then they'll just bring the character back in other future DC movies, and when they do that, they'll do more of his backstory each time. They actually spent a lot of time in the animated movies getting into his backstory back in the day, like Son of Batman, Batman Bad Blood. Most of the movies adapt bits and pieces of his comic book backstory. They're not meant to be exact copies, but a lot of you probably remember at least seeing some parts of these movies. Ra's al Ghul, failing to convince Bruce Wayne to become his heir, taking over the League of Assassins, uses Talia al Ghul to honeypot him into having a child, Damian Wayne, who he can then groom as his successor. Like, he wants Batman, but the next best thing is Batman's son. Which is why Damian Wayne spends the first part of his life, like the first 10 years of his life growing up, being so much more hardcore than the other Robins, because he's raised by Ra's al Ghul. Then eventually Talia al Ghul reveals Damian's existence to Batman, saying she wishes him to train Damian, like, I want you to be the boy's father and train him in your ways. And because he's Batman's actual biological son, not just adopted son or his ward in the case of Dick Grayson, a lot of their stories, especially early on, are mostly about Batman learning to be an actual father in the way that he was not with the previous Robins, like the failings that he had with Dick Grayson, Tim Drake, Jason Todd, because he has a lot of regrets about the way he raised them as children, the way that he wanted to raise them. So when Damian comes along, he tries to be an actual father in the very messed up way that Batman tries to be a father. So a lot of their stories deal mostly with the father-son side of their relationship just as much as the adventures they have in fighting villains, like big Batman adventure stories. While this is all going on in the background, he's busy trying to raise Damian not to be a monster like Ra's al Ghul wants him to be. You also have Ra's al Ghul and Talia, who keep trying to twist Damian evil, and Ra's himself using him at various points to stay in power himself. There have also been a lot of other DC stories in the comics they've done where they show you the older future versions of Damian, who has taken over the League of Assassins, and other future Batman stories where he's taken the mantle of the Bat. Like, what is the Damian Wayne version of Batman like? A very, very hardcore version of Batman. DCU Damian Wayne obviously is only going to be like 10 to 13 years old when they introduce him, so it's going to be a long, long time, but you should expect a lot of that, like echoes of what his destiny is supposed to be through all the stories that he appears in.
Don't look so stunned, Father. I thought you'd be taller.
James Gunn did not say a lot about Bat Family during Brave and the Bold. There might be a little bit. I'm not expecting all the Robins to appear. Like, that's just a lot of characters. Dick Grayson would already be Nightwing, so I'm hopeful that they'll at least do a little Nightwing during the movie. Because they're also supposed to be doing the DCU Teen Titans movie, and Dick Grayson is supposed to be in that. And there's a dynamic duo movie, which I don't think is supposed to be DCU technically, but it's Dick Grayson in a Jason Todd movie. So there will be an actual DCU Nightwing at some point. The closest we've gotten to that so far, actual Nightwing on screen, is during the Titans series just a little while ago. It wasn't even that long ago. Probably the next real big reveal that James Gunn made, though, during a similar interview, was that they're not going to wait that long before actually releasing Batman Brave and the Bold, despite Matt Reeves continuing on with the Batman 2, the Batman 3 with Robert Pattinson off in his own Reeves-verse. James Gunn said they wouldn't wait until 2030. That means 2028, 2029 at the latest. Once they announce they start filming, it typically takes them about 2 years to make and release a big movie like that, meaning they're still well within that window. So we actually might be heading to a situation where we have Matt Reeves' The Batman 2, then another DCU Batman movie the year after that. 2 Batman movies in back-to-back years. All the Superman crossover we're seeing right now on Peacemaker Season 2, probably a good template for how they'll deal with the Batman side of things when it comes to the TV shows in the next several years. That's going to be a whole other thing too, because Matt Reeves is still developing more TV show Batman stuff in his universe. James Gunn sounds like he will also start doing some Batman-related TV shows set inside the DCU. Based on all his recent interviews and all of Matt Reeves, all of Robert Pattinson's interviews, it just seems like James Gunn is dead set on casting a brand new Batman in his DCU. When he was asked how they're going to deal with this, having multiple Batman actors running around at the same time on screen, he actually said that they're not worried at all. Like, he on a corporate level, like behind the scenes, and the other Warner Brothers people, DC people, are not worried about confusing casual audiences and it hurting box office. He actually claimed he didn't think the casual audiences would have any problems dealing with it, they wouldn't find it confusing, and in his opinion, it was only the hardcore fans who were really confused because they get too inside baseball about the continuity and how everything works together movie to movie, especially with DC having a lot of Elseworlds movies at the same time that everything is supposed to be canon. You can all let me know if you agree with what he's saying, but there's a bunch of big stuff coming up. They're finishing filming the Clayface movie. I've already done a couple big Batman Easter egg videos for like all the related Batman stuff that we spotted in all of the scenes. Click here for both of those videos, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.